No, that's what I'm saying. It's like he slipped up. It's cool. We still would rather have you as president, but at the same time, all minorities poor. All right.
We just want to make sure he was still the Biden he was 20 years ago.
Yeah,
That's
we
him and Hillary and Bill try to act like they ain't still them people that call super predators.
Super predators, right?
It's just it's just a personality check. It's just a personality check. Like niggas, stop trying to act like you.
100.
Yeah, just keep it 100.
That's how Trump got elected. He was honest.
That's what a lot of people don't understand.
Do you realize that it's rich
African Americans
who voted for Trump? It's black males who voted for Trump because they know Hillary was up that line. Hillary championed mandatory minimums that did stuff like took my brother and my father away.
So what you telling me is do you feel like Trump is the lesser of the evil?
Based on my tax bracket, baby, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
No, look, I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna tell you. I tell people all the time.
Because I work for the Democrats.
I'm gonna tell people.
It's a catch-22.
Now look, it's like what you said. I tell people all the time. The reason why Trump won is because he told the truth.
Straight up.
Like I don't care how evil or hurtful I am. I said it out loud. Yes, you believe me. That's why he won. That's why I honestly feel like he's gonna win again.
Nobody could do about it.
I honestly feel like he's gonna win again because all Democrats are telling us what we want to hear. Mm-hmm. People you got every single Democrat. What's the first two things that they say? I believe in reparations, and I want to get rid of the student loan debt, bro. That shit not gonna happen. No. Nobody is believing them. So it's like everybody looking at them like, you want.
But that's the Democrats vote on emotion. Republicans vote on their bank account.
They vote on the truth. And exactly. Trump's sitting up here.
But then remember, Republicans freed the slaves. So if we go back, it's always business.
Trump sitting up here like, all right, look, I'm not getting rid of tax. I'm not getting rid of the student debt. Like, that's not gonna happen. But I will tell you, I do this here. I do this little small thing here. I do this little small thing there. And people like, you know what? I believe him because I could see that being possible. When a motherfucker get on national television in front of millions of people and they say, I'm finna erase a 1.6 trillion student loan debt.
Over with.
Every person who logically know what's going on is looking at that TV and they like, that motherfucker's lying. Yeah, you get what I'm saying?
We try to stay away from him no matter what. Yeah, for sure.
No, I listen.
Facts, though.
I believe in this ain't got nothing to do with Trump, but I was talking to Sid. And I basically was telling her, like, Barack Obama was president 8 years too early. Hillary Clinton should have been president. He should have been her vice president. Because didn't nobody know him.
That was the original plan.
Didn't nobody know him. Didn't nobody, like...
No, they needed Obama to be there so he could do what he did in Africa, though. They needed... Muammar Gaddafi was building the African dinar, the gold dinar, and they got the most resources there. Africans literally would have took the goddamn globe back. They needed an African man with African roots who could smile and play cool as hell to look black people in the face and
so they can finish their agenda.
They needed a black man.
They finished out their agenda.
I know that, like, government wise. I'm just talking about people wise. For the betterment of us. He was president 8 years too early.
Ever been for the better?
Very true. But I don't know if he knew that. Like, I don't like. It's like what you said. Like, they needed him to be president. So I don't know. But to me, it seemed clear cut that he shouldn't have been president when he
just remember.
Even when he was running, I was telling people like, gee, why y'all should vote for Hillary Clinton and then let him be vice president.
He never got elected before the presidential race. Most people don't know this. Obama won his senatorial races and things in the state of Illinois because candidates dropped out. For instance, the one guy had stuff with his wife, he was beating his wife or his stuff with his children.
Yeah.
He never actually he won the race, but he didn't get elected by vote. We fell for okey-doke because he ran for office. We saw P. Diddy on TV. Exactly. We saw Oprah on TV. Mm-hmm. We saw this cool swagging-ass black dude. Mm-hmm. And then he had this black woman who is really from Chicago, who lived in Parkway back when it was very nice, by the way. And was there for like a year or so, standing next to him. So we said, we with him, and we went for it, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with him, but the reality is we also got to understand that presidential hands are tied. He was elected by individuals tied to like Rahm Emanuel. That's why that was his Secretary of State, you know,
right.
You know how it trickles all the way back down to Chance the Rapper and Ari Emanuel over in L.A. and they movies and them Rahm Emanuel getting elected the mayor, and then we had us having Batman and all this Hollywood coming to town. You know, it's big business. You know, and he was the black man in a suit that they could use to do it. And at the end of the day, we need to understand that Muammar Gaddafi has been a threat since the '90s when he gave Jeff Ford missile launchers.
Exactly.
You know, and Jeff Ford, Chief Malik got locked up for being a terrorist. You know, so we have to sit here and act like we understand this game. Muammar Gaddafi been a threat. You feel me? They needed to do what they did. You know, they got rid of Saddam Hussein, who was trying to do what? His own currency.
And his legacies. All of their legacies.
Every war in history,
nephews.
every war in history has been about currency. When they came to America to try to stop the colonies, it was because they created their own currency. They didn't want to pay the British taxes.
Exactly.
You feel me? It's always about currency. Motherfuckers want their money. They need you to pay taxes.
That's facts, though.
That's the world. People need their tax.
The IRS is the biggest gang.
And it's not even American.
In the country. The IRS is the biggest gang in the country.
Really.
Exactly.
Jobs.
You know, that's what's crazy. The IRS is the biggest gang in the country, and they're not even in America.
They
will swipe a card and they go back to London.
Exactly.
You know,
but I agree.
What they call them, the Empire States, London,
the
Vatican, and DC.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these constitutional monarchies.
Exactly.
You know?
Where the biggest central banks at?
Yeah,
that's where the biggest central banks at. So piggybacking off just political issues and things like that. First thing we're gonna get into is, you know what, Trump. I guess we're gonna call it Trump in the news.
Right.
You know, the last couple of weeks, you know, he been wilding. You know, he been having a lot going on. You know, we need to get ASAP back ASAP.
Yeah,
you know,
it's been a rocky week.
Yeah, he been pandering like a motherfucker, but at the same time, you know, he been pandering like a motherfucker, but at the same time, it's like, I think he's starting to sweat a little bit, because I feel like a lot of pressure is being put on him to call a spade a spade. Right. You know, one thing he's always done since he became a president is one thing he's been great at is being able to distract what the real issue is.
For sure.
You know, a lot of people don't understand that when he tweet or when he do something, it's to take attention away from the real issue.
Every time.
Kansas City Shuffle.
Like 3 weeks ago, he shit, I forget what he said. Like about the ladies.
Okay,
Remember he said the ladies should go back to where they came from. It was those 4 senator women.
Right.
He was like, maybe they should go back to where they came from. Yeah. That was strategic because of the fact that there was another presidential candidate who was supposed to be like up after him, or they were supposed to have a rally or how they speak after him, and nobody knows about that. Like, nobody remembers that because everybody remember that he dissed those 4 ladies. Right. You get what I'm saying? Like, whether it's bad or whether it's good, he's saying things to keep the attention on him and to keep the attention away from the real issue. So I just want to know y'all opinion, you know, on some of the things that he's had going on. For instance, the mass shootings, you know, the things that he's been saying about these political women that are in power, or they're running for their senators in these states. I think one is in New York, one is in Minnesota, and saying that those women need to go back to where they came from. There was one of his another guy who was in the House of Republic. He said maybe the ladies should go to Somalia or something like that, where she from, and spend a year there, and come back, and maybe she appreciate America a little bit more. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this the narrative that they pushing out there. Like, if you don't like it here, leave.
Exactly.
And so I don't think Trump realized. I think he knows, but he's really trying to make it seem like he has no influence on the shit that's going on right now. Walmart fucking is no longer allowing violent video games to be like not be sold, but they're not advertising video games. So let's just say a new Call of Duty or a new Grand Theft Auto come out. Walmart is not gonna put a poster or anything like that up in a store because Trump went on national television and said the reason for these mass shootings is violent video games and shit like that, but Walmart is still gonna sell guns.
Right.
Like you still gonna be like somebody just walked in your store and shot that bitch up, but you still gonna sell guns. But you're not gonna sell video games, or you're not gonna advertise violent video games. So what y'all think about it?
So I'm gonna try to keep mine short and simple and sweet. It's on the aspect of understanding how America gets down psychologically. Like it's always they plan. I feel like America plans their own attacks for their own benefits. You know what I'm saying? When you have, for example, 9/11, you was dealing with people from Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, just like the Middle Eastern aspect of the world, and they had hidden agendas in America. Mm-hmm. You know, they was planning to take over a lot of different systems pertaining to the banks, pertaining to Dubai was making a lot of money during that time because of the new development projects that they had going on in Dubai.
With the oil and all that.
Exactly.
That's how they,
So generally America tries to cut a deal with people who are becoming more prestige in the sense of like cultural aspects. Like you was talking about Gaddafi. You know, you got to do something like America start building military bases in Africa around that time. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't go anywhere from like western part of Africa because we see like that's the part that's growing the most with the people that's back home trying to put money back into those specific lands. Mm-hmm. But getting back to the subject, it's more of like they always have like a specific agenda targeted towards specific people. So since the Hispanics have like the minimum wage working jobs and they push the black men to the side as far as like giving them opportunity, they have to do something. You have to get embarrassed. You have to get like your specific ethnic group has to go through hell first in order for y'all to get the reapings of the benefits that you all are trying to earn. So like when the mass shooting happened, I knew the topic wasn't going to be touched on the right way because it's Trump. He only cared about his specific group of people. You know what I'm saying? The Germans.
He wasn't going to address it the way it needed to be addressed.
Exactly. He wasn't going to show any sympathy. The most he'd do is be like, you know what I'm saying, like how you said, he had like he said, the reason why these mass shootings happen because of video games, you know what I'm saying? But nah, dude, you know what I'm saying, that shot up the spot, you know what I'm saying? He was a white boy. Like, I mean, it's typical, like a white man. Like, that's how they come. Like, they do things like that, and then they get labeled as, like, mental ill individuals, and they don't serve no real time.
And this was in El Paso, right?
Yeah, El Paso, like, exactly. Texas, Dallas.
Yeah. You know what he was going after. Exactly. You know who he was going after. You know he was going after Mexican.
Me personally, I feel like it was planned. You got to look at the simple fact. Shit, they was talking about building the wall. The wall really can't be built seriously. It's gonna either get knocked down some type of way, or they gonna, like, you know what I'm saying, like
trying to give his ass the money.
You know what I'm saying? They giving
and they trying to give his ass the money.
It's you know what I'm saying. It just don't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Like. But the thing is, it's to embarrass that group of people first, so they won't be looked at as like a group of people that's actually coming up. They still, like in that minority group, they still individuals that can't come out on top. But if you look at what they have, you know what I'm saying, they got all of the contracts, they building in all parts of like the world. You know what I'm saying? They coming together as groups. They own a lot of property too. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like you have to get embarrassed first. You know what I'm saying? It's a psychological thing. We supposed to have a specific group of people that get attacked first, and then they eventually come up. If you see, even in the political ladder, they climbing. They inside like the judicial system. They got different positions as far as police officers. They got like like getting into the fire departments now. Even though that's like, what is it? Shit, like, you know, you got the police officers that they like not German, but I think the Italians own the fire department section, and then the Irish. Right. So you know what I'm saying? Like they got like ownership in like the fire departments now. They got ownership in like certain parts of like the police force. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you see them coming up that ladder, but they have to be put down first. You know what I'm saying? That's what I noticed in history. It's like a pattern of consistent events. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when 9/11 happened, you start seeing, like, different people from Saudi Arabia inside the political field, like, just coming up out of nowhere. So it's just like, I see that personally, and I just, like, people just have to pay attention to how America play games. It's a specific pattern.
So so you're saying that this whole thing is more so of a ploy to, I don't want to use the word advertise. It's a ploy to kind of like
an overlay for the underlay.
Yeah, to to say that, you know, this is how we gonna treat your people.
Right.
And if you want to be accepted, or if you want to get further,
y'all have to be.
Now you need to act right.
Exactly.
Now you need to basically take our side and do what we want you to do. Exactly. So now your political individuals are gonna be under. They're gonna be basically under our wing.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you Mexican, you wanna be a senator, you wanna be in the House of Republic. Well, you see how we just came at your people. Now, if you want to make it better, you also need to do what we want you to do. You need to abide by our rules and do what we want you to do.
It's like
I ain't think about it like that.
And then also you got to look at when it happened. They never really put out clips. You got big ass cameras sitting in Walmart, but y'all can't show.
Oh no, they ain't gonna show that shit.
My point intended. But
they ain't gonna show that.
But the thing is, even like they only showed him entering, but they never. They put more numbers on top of things too, like the amount of people that got killed. You get what I'm saying? Like me personally, if I hear gunshots going off in the spot, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to keep going towards the person that's shooting. That was a lot of people. You get what I'm saying? That was a lot of people. They didn't put out the footage, and they put hella numbers out. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's putting a sense of a psychological standpoint.
Yeah.
You got the images of the dude coming in. You got him. You see him masked up, ready to go to war. You got these numbers that come out, but it's no substance. Like,
you almost feel like it was 30 people standing right there, and he just,
you feel me,
like he just gunned them down, or whatever the case may be.
You got to think about how everything is. It's always like we need more detail, and we never had it. We just throw out the speculations, what we think, what we believe, but we don't have the facts for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even the cat that got on, like the black guy that was talking about it, he talked about like just saving the children. But a lot of them did not see the shooter. You know what I'm saying?
Very true. A lot of people say they didn't. They just heard the shots.
They just heard the shots. Now, a lot of people not trying to see the shooters, but our day and age, everything is recorded. We ain't got no footage. We just hear the gunshots. Like, it's been shit like in classrooms, kids getting shot in different like states and countries, but they record it.
On their phones.
You get what I'm saying? I think he probably popped a few people. It blew up because of the simple fact, like the Hispanic ladder, they only have a certain amount of time. So they have to put something out. They have to put some type of material out. Now, I might sound crazy, but this is just what I believe. Now, I don't think I sound crazy, but I might sound crazy to the masses because just like those specific groups of people,
what you saying makes sense. It's like
it's not real, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not real, like, evidence, bro, like that many people passed.
What about you?
Man, I mean, what he said really does give you a lot to think about. You look at the political landscape, you look at the way that the elite have always controlled the mind through psychological warfare, and you look at the reality of the fact that you got different individuals, and the first one that comes to my mind, I mean, I'm not saying she has anything to do with any of this, is the young lady, Ocasio-Cortez. She's heavily influential. She speaks a lot.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, get closer to the mic.
She's very vocal right now. She's getting a lot of attention. So one of the things that I'm noticing that when people are trying to create a narrative and to lead their people into a deeper path, they have to initiate things that will build it. The first time you can think of a homegrown terrorism, if you will, was the Boston Tea Party. It was actually the Sons of Liberty, and they dressed up like Indians. You know, and they initiated one of the events that led to our war for independence. So the reality is, when you see that we have different candidates who are of Hispanic descent, and you don't see all of this information, it's kind of simple to understand that they need more attention. You know, that's when you give them something to champion. For instance, if you're in Chicago and you want to run for mayor, and you're someone who grew up in a situation where it was impoverished, and you want to shift attention to you, well, a very inspiring, very promising young kid from a very bad neighborhood gets shot, and you can relate. So you become the face of the people. You become the face of this tragedy. You become the hero. You become the
person to speak out and get the attention.
That's what people do. You have a lot of people who they call crisis. What are the people who show up in crisis time? You know,
yeah, well,
and they're always there every
I know
time.
exactly.
It happens in Chicago a lot.
I think it's crisis management. Or something
you got
like
people
that.
who show up every crisis in Chicago and they want to get on TV and talk about what was going on. They don't know the family. They're not from this neighborhood. Never spent a day on this block, but they need to get that time. You know, that's nothing but politics. That's trying to build a brand. That's trying to build a face. You know, it happens all the time. It's American politics. The reality is, if there's no footage of it and you hear all these
speculations,
then that's what you're left with. You know, they say what is it? They say believe half of what you see and none of what you hear.
Yeah.
You know, the reality is, I don't mean to be an a-hole, but if I wasn't there, how do I know it happened? You know, I'm a firm believer that I can't support that as secondhand knowledge.
Exactly.
You know, so my condolences to anyone who might have passed in this shooting. I haven't actually watched the footage and things like that. But the reality is, it's gotten to a point for me, to be honest with you, where I don't even bother to watch it. I researched the Sandy Hook. You know, I did all that. I was in the class. I remember getting to school late on September 11th in 6th grade and actually being able to see the second plane hit the tower. You know, and I remember my teacher at the time, her name was Monica DiLorenzo, her saying, man, I bet they're going to say it was Osama bin Laden who did it. And later on, they said he did it. You know, and the reason being, they had trained him here. You know, and then he actually just got posthumously acquitted.
Exactly.
You know, so, you know, after they send these seals, make all these movies.
You saying he, say that again?
Osama bin Laden was posthumously acquitted.
On what?
September 11th.
I'm saying, I guess I don't get what that means. Like, what do you mean he was acquitted?
It has come out that he had nothing to do with the situation.
At all.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I didn't know that, G.
America plans their own attacks, man.
I didn't know that, G.
Everything from mass shootings to whatever you see on the news, G. They do that themselves. They build all of this themselves.
I'm sitting up here like, I heard what you said, but I'm sitting up here like, well, maybe he like said like, you know, it was just.
No, they have announced that he had nothing to do with it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And the pictures that they was putting up and everything of all the individuals, them wasn't even people. They was just like random ass mug shots. Like it's never.
So if they came to the conclusion that he had nothing to do with it, and so I've heard all the because when you call something a conspiracy theory, it almost make it seem like you saying it's a lie.
Right.
So I don't want to call it a conspiracy theory because I don't know truly what happened. But it's like when you back then when you used to hear about all these people saying, oh, the government knocked down the trade towers. You know what I'm saying?
I got a question.
The government did it.
Question.
Go ahead.
How did Building 7 fall?
What do you mean Building 7?
At the World Trade Centers, they had two administrative buildings. Then they had a central, I guess you want to call it, their intelligence hub. It was called Building 7. It was much smaller.
And what it
housed all of the financial information for the U.S. trade.
And so you saying how did it fall? Like how did I mean,
it never got hit by a plane.
I mean, another big building was sitting next to it. Like, I don't know.
It's things like that when you look at it, I've learned to just listen to stories, and sometimes I just find holes. I'll just stop. You know, I don't always ask questions, but the reality is, you got two structures that got hit by planes. They imploded, which to me doesn't even look realistic. You know.
Okay.
I'm not an engineer, but it just doesn't look realistic the way they fell. It looked like a controlled demolition.
That I can't say. The way they fell looked.
Full.
It looked like the way they fell looked like how you know how you knock down like some project buildings and like that's how this shit fell. So I like what you said to my knowledge. If a building get hit and it just give way or it crumble, I can't see that building just dropping straight down the way that it dropped straight down. Like I feel like it'll either lean, it'll do something like it.
Because the reality is the bottom of this building was not hit. So the reality is, if these buildings got hit at the top, what's
that top half supposed to fall?
Yeah, what's
I thought of that too. Like the top half should have fell first instead of the bottom giving out. But I mean,
and if the top half had fallen, it would have literally fallen on the bottom half,
collapsed some or whatever
and
the case
fallen
may be.
over
Yeah.
off the side of the building.
They would have been able to continue to build after that.
Yeah, I so I guess it's like what both of y'all coming from is that like this is all just an underplay for the overlay, like you
politics.
said.
The person who that building, who owned that building, I think they received like unlimited bread for that shit, bro. It was like the insurance.
They had just
they rebuilt it with that money,
like
so it was like,
it
was just like I think it was like it was a couple billion or some shit, bro. Like it was some crazy amount.
Do you
of money.
feel like everything that's going on now politically with Trump, or everything that we got going on now, is it a ploy? So I know y'all saying it's a ploy for something bigger, but what do y'all think that bigger is? Like what do y'all think that is? Like what do you think is the next grimy ass government? Like what do you think is the next thing that they trying to do? Like
the reality is right now,
because I think Trump is a puppet, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I think he's a puppet. I think that the mass Republicans or the people who really like are in charge are using Trump because he's what he's doing is he's bringing out a lot of people's truth, right? He's bringing out a lot of people's truth. Like at my job, it could be like back in the day when somebody voted for a Republican, it was just like, oh, they just a greedy motherfucker, or they just, they want their money.
Jay-Z made a song called Black Republican.
But now when you see somebody that's Republican, it's like, you don't ask them, did you vote Republican? You say, damn, you voted for Trump. Like, it's not like, damn, you're a Republican. It's damn. So if somebody vote for Trump now, or if somebody, you almost looking at them now morally.
Right.
A lot of people don't know how to separate the morals from the politics. Meaning, if you meet anybody who vote for Trump, would you automatically say like, "Damn, you a racist"?
No.
But that's how a lot of people look at it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like if you say, "Oh man, like I voted for Trump," people look at it and be like, "Damn, you racist? You don't like Mexicans?" And it's like that's not what I said. You don't like black people, you don't like Mexicans, and it's like that's not what I said. I just I voted for Trump because I have a political belief or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Yeah, so like, yeah, I but so what do you think the next big thing is?
Honestly, that's the trick right now. I can't be certain, but I do see. I'll say, for instance, you got different factions in America who control power. The easiest way to look at it, we're from Chicago. Chicago's a gangster city. On one side, you have the Jews. On the other side, you got the Irish. You had Ronner, you had J.B. Pritzker, Irishman, and a Jewishman. You had Rahm Emanuel. Then for him, you had a Daley. You see this power fluctuate. Trump is not per se, from what I've seen, on the side of either of them. Trump is just a billionaire who really doesn't care. He's more global, if you will. He's not focused on his culture. But I think there is a shift in America where people are starting to become more aware, and one of the things that they need to do now to stifle people is break us. Like you mentioned earlier, it's like buck breaking. The reality is our generation is raised to look at so many things. There's depression, or to complain about things. We get on social media and we sit up and we complain and we whine instead of saying, okay, how can I go attack the situation? We'll sit up and complain on social media, not realizing that same phone that we're using to type can be used to make money. You can get on TD Ameritrade and trade Forex. You can do all this. We're sitting up here wasting our time Facebooking when we could be making money.
As much as you tweeting, you could be a day trader.
You feel me? And this is a reality. Yeah. But we'll sit up and complain about lack of funds, or we'll sit up and complain about things. I think literally right now, the focus is on dulling our minds. So now they make sure that they legalize marijuana, so now you'll get higher. They want to make sure that everyone goes into this hippie 70s move. Why? Because the 60s were turbulent. People were starting to think. Mm-hmm. We got to make them stop thinking. We got to get everybody to settle. That's when you get into the 70s mood. America does have their cycles. And it's just like I said, the turbulent 60s where it was wartime. Now you got to give them drugs. You got to pacify them. So everything is going into the all love. Tell everyone walk around naked. Increase the sex. Don't be in love. Don't get married. Free love. It's the 70s again. And that's so they can stifle you. And then you'll have the 80s where everybody will finally wake up from these drug-infested comas and start wanting to finally make money again. Mm-hmm. But then when they start trying to make money, the competition comes, and here comes the war again. That's the cycle of America.
So you feel like the next thing is going to be war?
No. From what I
just heard, you basically saying we getting ready for war.
No. Right now, that's like a decade, 2 decades ahead. Right now, we're leaving. Right now, we're leaving the war. It's like the turbulent 60s. You had Vietnam. Everyone was at war. Then that's when they started pushing the drugs. You had Quaaludes. You had the drugs they were doing back then. Yep. Heroin was popping.
And that's the
now
Mollies.
We popping pills. Now that's the same shit,
and
man.
The weed is the cocaine.
And it's literally
it's the replacement.
And now you got all the people with their different types of music. You got all the different types of music festivals, free love. Everything is be open, be free.
Vegan.
Just love. Do everything. And it gets weird like the 70s, And everybody's into that, and it's moving, Then next thing you know, they say Chase they seized all this money on the Chase vessel, billions of dollars of cocaine. What happened right after they free drugs? All the cocaine rushed in the 80s.
Exactly.
Yeah. At the end of the day, with the drugs comes money. And with money comes power.
Let me piggyback, bro.
That's not saying that the next thing is war, but this is the natural cycle of life.
Facts, though. And then when you look at how the 70s and 60s and 70s was, you got black men that was educated, but they couldn't find jobs. And then the ones that was educated, they was under like a umbrella, so they couldn't have their people come in to actually get them jobs. Gotcha. And then you got manufacturing companies, and then you got Amazon. You got all of these big companies, and a lot of black men can only apply to these manufacturing companies or like outsourcing companies. You know what I'm saying? Warehouses. Exactly. And that's all we used to work in when in the 70s. Like that's all them the only jobs that we had. You know what I'm saying? Like that was like bringing in decent money. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you look at the system and you look at like how it's repeating itself, he's dead on. Like,
look at all the TV shows and what they're trying to put in people's heads. Look at everything. What are the best TV shows on TV right now?
Shit, the fucked up ones, Euphoria. That show, wow.
Oh, I don't know that. I don't know that one. I was gonna say Queen of the South and Snowfall.
That's
but no, very true. But
and look what that's putting in people's heads. You got a young man, Franklin Singh, who I would assume is pretty much Freeway Ricky Ross. And they literally showing you how he ended up connecting up with the CIA, and transporting these large amounts of coke, Iran-Contra, with Danilo Blandon and things of this nature. You literally giving these young kids these ideologies about how they can make it out of these situations. You realize that the only reason I know who Danilo Blandon is because as a kid, I watched The Godfather, decided to do research, and I learned who these people were, so that's what motivated me to make it out of the hood and go to business school. But now you can actually see this shit on TV.
Yeah, now it's on TV.
Now it's on TV.
Ain't no research. We giving you all the knowledge.
Make sure you kids want to go do this.
Exactly.
Look, this is how you can make it out by being this drug king.
And they literally trying to show you,
Uh-huh. Like the show Euphoria, it's like why the fuck is that on TV?
What's Euphoria about?
Like so it's basically like
pushing.
I feel like it's pushing the narrative of kids being sexual and drug experienced at a young age. Like
So I had my first
I haven't seen one lesson be taught in this show yet.
Right.
You haven't like.
You feel like that is that what they're pushing or is that what reality is? Because a lot of motherfuckers is doing drugs and fucking. They're not glorifying it on that show at all. I haven't watched the show. I just asked. That was my question.
So one of the things I will say, and I say we have to be cognizant about this, is the fragility of the mind, even at an older age. People are easily influenced. Everyone has that suggestive friend. Everyone got that friend that's just a little, hey, they gonna follow. You know, the reality is it's messed up, but it is reality. People are easily influenced. They might be actually exposing an accurate reality of life of what some people are experiencing. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, coming up, the stuff I experienced, you know, being around drugs at a young age, being around guns at a young age, that was not commonplace. There's no way in hell it should have been on TV, because what it is you make it acceptable. You desensitize people to it. That's the issue with it. It's not that it's not a realistic encounter. If you have people that are going through that, we need to make sure that there are centers and resources for these individuals, and we can have these shows for them to see. But if we desensitize and we normalize these kinds of things in these settings, then these young kids growing up think it's okay. And I think that's where the issues come in, because now all of the kids see this, so they're like, okay, we can do it.
That's what I was getting out of it. That's what I was getting out of it. It's like the people that the individuals that you have in this show are individuals that our kids look up to. Oh. You got Zendaya and you got the Stormy girl. Like all little black girls love them. And then this is a show that they're the people that influence them is part of. Yeah, and they seeing a hero be a drug addict in high school and fucking multiple like every episode somebody like fucking multiple people. Like it's a wild ass show for little kids, for their heroes to be in. Yeah, you get what I'm saying?
Sounds like my high school.
How old are these girls? Because Zendaya is grown.
Well, I know the one girl not. What's her name? Stormy.
I'm not
What's
sure.
her name? Storm. I think her name is Storm. She was in A Wrinkle in Time. It was the little girl from the movie A Wrinkle in Time. That's Zendaya, little sister in the show.
She's an adult though.
No, I don't think she is. Yeah, Zendaya is.
No, I'm telling you, she's an adult.
The Storm girl? No, she not 21. She not 21.
I mean, do you feel like that's an adult? I feel like she's older than 18. You get what I'm saying? And I understand that you're saying that these girls look up to these people, because the thing about it is at what age do you stop being the person that people look up to and being an adult actor? You get what I'm saying?
I get that, but you have it on a platform that's
what age do they portray in the show?
They portray a young age on the show.
So that's the trick too, and that's why I say we got to look at the fragility of these minds. The reality is these kids don't see Zendaya. You know, they don't know how to separate the two. They watching this TV show, they see these people doing these things. For instance, you got kids running around America who actually thought Tekashi 6ix9ine was a gangster. You got people in our generation who actually thought Lil Wayne was a gangster. This man been famous since he was 11. And gangsta win.
And same thing with the,
you know
what I'm saying, like the girls who rapping now, you know what I'm saying? You got Megan and you got the City Girls or whatever the case may be. They all live in relationship lives, but they portraying one thing as far as material. So, you know what I'm saying? Like my girl, she works at a high school, North Lawndale. And she was talking about how the kids, like, they really portraying what they hearing in these songs. Like, that's how they move, that's how they act, you know what I'm saying? And they believe this. Like, this their core value.
The whole time, the person who's singing the song is in a relationship.
Don't really carry that image out.
I know y'all all seen. I know y'all all seen the Instagram video of the young lady who was out to dinner, and she like on my City Girl shit, and she was taking a picture of her chicken wings, and she was out with her man,
and he like, no, show my food, show man too.
My shrimp, my shrimp.
You're not here by yourself.
You got adults who are literally throwing away their futures and their relationships for a girl that's on TV. She's
not living that. She's not keeping that same energy.
You got adults that are being brainwashed by this. This is a reality. They pushing this on people.
Being Mary Jane was a prime example. You know what I'm saying? It shows that, you know what I'm saying, I don't need a man to have a child or his regard. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just worried about this specific, you know what I'm saying, like his semen. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
She froze the semen.
Same thing with the white lady. I mean, the black woman that was like very prestige. I forgot her name, but she played a role and it was like Scandal. no matter what, you know what I'm saying, this, exactly, Kerry Washington, this white man is superior. No matter how many black men that got it right, you know what I'm saying, that can treat me white, telling me I'm a queen, this, that, and the third, I'm in their face. No matter what,
I'm running after this white man.
Let's not talk about scandal. Let's not talk about scandal.
But no. But facts though. But then you got to think about the agenda that came behind that. It was interracial dating, and then Kerry Washington got on like a couple radio stations and said, you know, like it's okay to be gay. You know what I'm saying? Like push that, like it's okay for women to date women. Like, and also it's okay to be interracial dating. You know what I'm saying? But that's less of what we needed to hear during that time. You know what I'm saying? Because we was going through a major drought with like women who they was losing their childs a lot in the emergency room. They couldn't tell them why. You know what I'm saying? You had the abortion rate was high as hell during that time. So it was like it was pushing that agenda. You know what I'm saying? Everything has like a specific psychological aspect behind it. Like we don't see that. You know what I'm saying? It's all about Kerry Washington was a big deal. It was just like every woman. It was just like
a lot of females. A lot of women was like, I want to be like
a boss. Like I gotta be a boss. And the only thing, like once you put yourself in the area of like corporate, and you see that your man is trying and he can't really. Like a lot of women saying he can't get it together, or he really trying to make some moves, but you around all of these men, these white men specifically with money, you start to like psychologically think and move that way, but don't realize you really pushing your generation or your culture to the side. I mean, like what you're a part of to the side,
exactly, for
like a greater cause that you think it's better. You know
what you think is the better.
Exactly.
You can tell the direction of a generation by the individuals. You can tell the direction of a generation by the individuals they idolize.
Exactly.
You know, if we were to say for this 2009 to 2020 generation, the 5 most influential women and the 5 most influential men, that can pretty much give you an accurate portrayal of where people in that time were going. Just like if you go back to the 60s and 70s. Okay,
so when you say influential, do you mean... Because influential could be tricky, right? Influential could mean like, all right, the 5 most successful or the most powerful women right now, or the 5 women and men that everybody pay attention to.
Yes, of course, media-wise.
Media-wise, just saying media-wise.
Yes,
okay, gotcha.
Because you got the guy the gentleman who just paid off all of the student loans for Morehouse. He's been one of the wealthiest black men.
Nobody knew who he was
in America for years. I actually put him on my Instagram a few years back because he does real estate. He's a real estate billionaire, and he was worth like 1.2 billion, like maybe like 5-6 years ago. You know, and no one knew him. Robert Johnson is his name, I believe. No one knew him because he wasn't
in the
excessive.
Media. Yep.
You know, people were posting all these Jay-Z's this and Jay-Z's that. And it's like, well, you got this guy right here. You got a gentleman right here in the city of Chicago who owns a company called Loop Capital, an African-American man who's super wealthy, started a company. You got a number of African-American individuals who do it, but they're not in the media. You know, so that's really the trick to it. And the reality is, it's sad, but that is what people see. That is what raised them. You know, so for instance, in my generation, when I was raised, because I'd say 09 to 2020 was, I was raised in a generation, but I was kind of already set in my ways. My generation would pretty much be before that. You know, maybe 99 to 09. You know, we had the Jeezys, we had the Jay-Z's. You know, that's why a lot of our generation, people our age, we were hustlers. We want to get money.
Exactly.
Whereas this generation, these younger people, it was a tail end of our generation, but Wayne turned into a damn drug addict. I really stopped messing with Wayne when he did the song I Feel Like Dying. I was just like, dude, what?
Yeah, that's when we started getting, you ain't lying.
I was like, what?
Like,
and then you start seeing, then Gucci Mane started talking about popping pills, then T.I. started popping pills.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sitting there like, the only one that really stayed real was Jeezy. He stepped talking about popping bottles of Ciroc and getting money, selling coke. You know?
So with the agenda that's being put out there and everything like that, like, do you feel politically, do you feel like they're trying to that they're trying to throw it off on something else, such as like mental health? right? Because that was also one of the things that they blamed, that they blaming a lot of things on. Everything gets blamed on mental health now.
Yeah, so
but that was one of the main things Trump also blamed, the current events that was going on mental health. So it's like,
specifically,
what do y'all feel about that? Do y'all feel like that they trying to push, that there's basically a lane there for them to push a lot of things on mental health and to be able to like use that as an excuse for a lot of the things that's going on in the country?
Always look at the back end of it. All right, so you got mental health right now. You got them getting ready to say they legalizing marijuana. So you got 770,000 people getting ready to come home in the city of Chicago. You know, legalization of marijuana and this mental health leads you to two things. Everyone has an issue. So, for instance, you get on Instagram and you see all these people flexing. You see people you know that you think you know flexing, and they look like they doing good when in reality they actually messed up. So now you mad because you feel like you should be there and you not there. Now you got this false depression, which is really is a lack of true vision and accountability that you haven't done what you need to do. So now you feel like you depressed, and it's really not because of nothing you doing. It's because
I like what you said, false depression.
You don't feel like you can keep up with other people in our generation. So you got people with college degrees from the same school I graduated from, University of fucking Illinois. You feel me? Talking about, oh, I can't find a job. It's so hard out here. And it's like, dude, my pops was a crackhead. You know, and you sitting here complaining about this shit.
You sitting here mad because you got a degree.
My brother got what they gave him about 100 years when he was 16. He came home and went and got him a job. You know, and we sitting here complaining about that. No, we feel entitled. We feel like we're supposed to have something because social media shows us these other people with this. And that's bullshit. So it has this false sense of mental health. So now they legalize weed so we can desensitize. Remember I said they got to slow us down now. Mm-hmm. So they give you this weed so you'll slow your ass down. Go pop a pill. You got an issue. Go talk to your therapist. Go talk to your psychiatrist. She gives you these drugs. Now you
antidepressants.
You sedated instead of getting out and going to hustle. You feel me? Instead of getting out and going on that. When I took the biggest loss of my life a few months ago, I stopped drinking. What I need to drink
you
for?
You did the opposite.
I'm broke.
Exactly. Like
I'm broke. What I'm drinking
did the
for?
Opposite.
You feel me?
But so you saying now that's the new mentality. So I like what you just said.
It's the mentality they push on us so they can keep us as robots.
You took your biggest L and you did the opposite. You stopped doing something that will allow you to be slowed down or allow you to be depressed. Whereas now they pushing the agenda. Oh, man, I just took a big L. I'm sad. I'm depressed. Well, let me give you some pills to get through it. Or let me give you some weed to get through it.
How about you sit up and look at this like this? Look, I just took this big L. During that process, where did I make a mistake or where did I do something that I can change in the future to alter the entire outcome of that situation? Mm-hmm. Boom. If I had done that, I would have never been in that situation. All right, so now next time situations arise, I can look for how this might relate to that one. How about I open my eyes instead of dulling them and keeping them more closed with drugs?
Yeah.
You know, keeping them more closed with alcohol. You know, it's time to hustle. If you broke, get out and hustle. I'm not going to get on Facebook and Instagram and start talking all this trash and complaining. I'm going to get on here and try to make sure that I'm focusing on doing things that will enhance my being. You know, I'm going to make sure that when I get on here, I'm going to look for something that's going to motivate me. That's why I'm talking to you all about the Mastermind Alliance, you know, Andrew Carnegie earlier. That was one of the things I researched. And when I took that L, I stopped messing with a lot of people. And it's not that they're not my friends anymore, but it's that I'm literally trying to build something. Mm-hmm. I know what loss is like. I know what winning is like, too. I actually prefer winning. So what I'm going to do is surround myself with other people who want to win.
Who want to win, exactly.
You feel me? I want to be surrounded by a bunch of other lions. I'm not trying to be the only lion walking with goats. That don't make no sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know?
So what you think about the whole mental health push?
Shit, he nailed it.
He did though. He did. But it's like it's becoming. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I could just, you know what I'm saying, just add or piggyback. You know what I'm saying? Like I just realized, like, you know what I'm saying, like I was doing the same thing. Like I have a business and it's been excelling tremendously. But I started looking into I started studying like the European brands because that's what a lot of my people shop with. And I started getting like mentally depressed. Like I really do. I sit myself like in a room and I be like, okay, I got to work on my blends. Like my shirt got to be this type of ounces and this type of weight, but I can't necessarily like put that much money to it. It's very expensive. It's costly. So it's like I started thinking about my situation in the wrong matter. You know what I'm saying? Then I just started, like I was smoking and I just had to chill out. I'm like, nah, let me chill. You know what I'm saying? It's not how I am. Like every time I got depressed, I wanted to smoke. So I just completely cut it out. You know what I'm saying? And I realized like I started getting back into my hustling ways. You know what I'm saying? Like me and him was on the same campus. My hats was everywhere. You know what I'm saying? He supported me. He was like, man, I see you out here. You know what I'm saying? He go that 40 and my hats weren't even $40 then. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a dub. And he put another dub on top.
Exactly.
It was the respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what I get out of like living the hustler's life. You know what I'm saying? You get so much respect because you're putting in a lot of energy. But once you indulge in like a substance, it kind of puts you in a false reality. You know what I'm saying? Like it drags you. You know what I'm saying? So they pushing that tremendously. All I'm hearing is like it's getting to like my people, my parents, like my aunties. They like, oh, I just found somebody that's investing into weed and this, that, and that. And it's funny because it's like y'all was the individuals that pushed away from the shit so much. Like they over here smoking and but you want to indulge.
Now you want to invest in it.
Exactly, like, because you see a benefit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's just funny, bro. Like, you know, it's just one of those. You know, he hit it on the nail. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hold up. Yeah.
I see it, and
hold on. Let me repeat what he said because they can't hear him. So basically, what you asking is it's a mental health push from the government coming down, right? On the negative, though, they pushing mental health as being a crutch, something that people can lean on. But then we also are telling black men you need to be more aware of mental health.
For sure.
Like because of the shit that you've seen, because of the possible PTSD you have from living in these rough neighborhoods and everything, you need to be more aware. And you're saying, could that clash? Could us trying to be aware of our mental health or something that may be wrong with us deep down inside, and then a government negatively pushing mental health down? Are you saying could it clash in the sense that we shouldn't, like black men are now going to say we shouldn't be mentally aware, or will it eventually tear us down even more? That's what I'm saying. I think my quick opinion is, I like what you said. I think it's going to be a negative impact. I think it's going to hit, and then now black people are going to use that, or they're trying to get black people to use that as an excuse now. You get what I'm saying? Exactly. I think they're going to try to use that as an excuse now. Now the black excuse is going to be I'm mentally ill.
I think that's what we really got to realize right now. We're in an era where we're starting to fight back. When you already suppressed, we ain't got all these superstar heroes that we love no more. We looking at people like, man, some of y'all bullshitting. We got a lot of things that are going on. The reality is we do have PTSD. I grew up in the hood. I saw some of my best friends buried. I actually got a list on my phone. I buried 21 of my closest homies growing up. You know, I'm 72nd East End, so we've been there, done that. You know, but the reality is you go through this, you experience it, and I had to come to realize I had PTSD. I joined my frat, and I couldn't interact with my frat brothers a lot of times because we got this thing where we grew, where we actually get tough with each other, and I'm from the hood. I'm ready to get on that. You know, it's like I don't even want to do that, play tough stuff, because I move like this, but
I ain't play fighting.
Yeah,
it's
you know, I had to realize that was post-traumatic stress disorder. So you got a lot of people like Herb. He's from my block. He was from 72nd and Bennett originally. You know, and he's coming out with an album called PTSD. I love that. You know, the biggest thing that we can do as African Americans is address it, but we have to address it with the key word. And this is what a lot of us fail to do, and it is what we're losing about. It's his profession. It's what I do professionally. It's accountability. You understand me? There is a certain point when you no longer have issues. You're being immature. There's a certain point when you no longer have issues. You're being enabled. You know, as a child, you go through things that you will face. But as African-American men, we have to understand that, yes, I had PTSD. When I stopped drinking in March, one of the things I also did was I sat down with a gentleman named Donald Dew. He's the CEO of a company called Habilitative Systems Incorporated. They actually focus on psychology in the state of Illinois. I had a meeting with him, and he gave me a book by a gentleman named Yogi Ramacharaka. It's called The Science of Breathing. And it talks about how breathing.
The science of breathing. I heard of that book.
It talks about how properly breathing will control your anger, will control your emotions, blood pressure, and a lot of things. So not only did I stop drinking, but I started making sure that I breathed correctly. And my entire mentality changed the way I approached anger and things like this. So yes, I had PTSD, but now it's like, okay, I can sit down and do this and think. And I sat down with this guy one time for an hour. You know, and all this African-American elder did was give me guidance and help me be accountable. That was what it was.
So you're saying be aware that you have PTSD or that you had, just be aware of the issues that you have, but now don't say, oh man, I got these issues.
No, I'm saying be aware so you can combat them.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. Like, be aware that you have the issues, but then now don't be like, oh, well, that's
using it
like,
for an excuse.
damn, I got these issues. No wonder. Like, that's why I'm fucked up. And
I
you
face
saying
some of the same issues that I had a ridiculously negative response to back in February before I met him in the last 2 months and laughed about him. Like, literally laughed. There was a point in time where I'm a Taurus. I literally see red, and I can lose my temper and go there. Mm-hmm. But I'd have anxiety attacks because people, like in a professional setting, would tell me, you got to chill. And I can't be out. I had a control issue, you know? So it literally, in your brain, you start to have anxiety attacks, your blood pressure builds because you can't be in control.
You got to keep it inside.
Now, once I start breathing, it's like, dude, I'm laughing. It's like 3 months ago, I would have literally might have had an anxiety attack over this. And now it's like, you really was, and the person was really just trying to make you mad. They were trying to test you, you know?
So what you think?
Oh, man. He'd be nailing shit. Like it'd be straight to the point, but like
do you think there's gonna be a class?
Of course. Okay, so I realized like a lot of men, like in my generation specifically, smoke. Mm-hmm. Smoke. You know what I'm saying? Like it puts you in that mellow mode, you chill, you know what I'm saying? But one thing a lot of people don't realize is that it's becoming a little bit more funnier with consuming weed. It was at a point where it was hard to get it, and now it's extremely accessible.
Exactly.
And then a lot of people talking about, oh, I got my plug in Cali. Like this good dope. Mm-hmm. You taste the difference. You feel the difference.
Yeah. On
the label, it tells you it has cancer. It's a possibility of cancer. Same thing with the swishers, but we still indulging in it, right? What the government is doing, and the reason why it's becoming legal, is to control the people. One example of it was the K2 in New York. Now we can take that.
Was that medical?
It was like a sprinkle of like a lot of shit. It was
okay, gotcha.
It was all type of shit. It was like rat poison, type. Okay. It was wild as hell, but it was like cocaine, rat poison, spray. You know what I'm saying? But the spray that they using, the government is taking the weed, putting it in. Like controlling it now. In California, they spraying it with Depo-Provera.
What is that?
Depo-Provera is what? It's like a birth control.
I was gonna ask you, are they I heard they spraying it with some stuff that can not emasculate you, but it kills your.
It changes your.
They say men need to stop smoking weed now because it's
you got men that got
taking your testosterone.
Yeah, so it's taking our testosterone and giving us estrogen. So every time, yeah, so that's why a lot of women are saying like we got all these bitch ass niggas like woo out the bam like they complaining so much.
These
it's
ass,
like
bitch
like
ass
yeah.
like.
So once you fold the blunt and you light the blunt, and once you inhale it, it turns those chemicals burning turns into phenols. So it puts you in a relaxed state of mind and more like feminine. It's more mellow. It's not as aggressive. Like you not like power. Your power drive.
That's funny. That's funny.
Your power drive leaves once you get phenols into your body. Phenols is estrogen. You know what I'm saying? And too much estrogen starts to change your chemical make.
So, gee, that's wild.
I actually heard that years ago. I was gonna ask that.
I didn't know the details. I heard something similar to it, but I didn't know the details about how everything was going down. But So you mean it? So let's look at it from the question that Terry brought up, right? So you got the mental health push.
Right.
A way to combat that is to be more relaxed. A way to deal with that is to indulge in marijuana, medically, prescription-wise, whatever the case may be, to control your mental health, to control your anxiety, to control your issues. And on top of that, it's also going to make you more feminine, make you more relaxed, or whatever the case may be.
It's gonna make you more emo. How many of the dudes you know that smoke a lot be on Facebook complaining all the time?
All the time.
My homies from the hood. That's what killed me. You got people from the hood. I got homies on the block that tote them blickers. I'm talking about 100 shots. And you see them on Facebook complaining about life, and it's like, fam, how the fuck you complain about life if you got a 100-round chopper right here? When I was growing up, you can't be broke if you got a llama right there.
At all.
How am I broke and I got a chopper? He sells drugs. I got a chopper. I'm rich.
No, we ain't gonna tell people to go out there.
You know.
No, I'm just saying. No, it ain't. It's not when you come from that. Like technically come from that environment. That's what you know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but now,
I respect that.
But now you got people on Facebook. But that's what I'm saying. Now you got people on Facebook complaining. You know, in the same sense, you got athletes that you see on social media complaining when they in the gym instead of getting in the gym.
Exactly.
You know, it's literally.
And I even felt the same way when I was smoking. I was always off some type of, like, I was emotional a lot. And I'm like, gee, you not like this, the fuck going on? It's because you doing something new. I was smoking. I'm talking about smoking. And I just looked at myself like, it's like I'm trying to figure out the issue.
So do y'all think,
you know what I'm saying? It was the smoke.
Do y'all think black men are better off not addressing the issue of mental health?
No, we gotta address it. We have to address it.
But do you think it's a slippery slope? Once you address it, you could fall down that
We don't like to address it because we got too many issues. Like, we have unlimited issues.
And that's what I'm saying. You know Once you address it, do you think it's easier to just fall down that hole and use it as a crutch?
Yeah,
use it as an excuse.
But you gotta understand the difference. That's why it's like we gotta understand the clear-cut difference between mental health and self-inflicted
pain.
What's the word? Don't have expectations because you'll be disappointed. Self-inflicted mental disappointment. That's what I'm going to call it. Okay, so the self-inflicted mental disappointment is when you see other people that you went to school with taking all these trips and living this life. They seem like they rich and stuff. And you see, you're like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm struggling. So you might smoke or whatever, you might get pissed off, stuff starts to bother you, and more it beats, and you feel like life beating you down. Why can't I find a job? So now you on social media complaining and this and that, when the truth is, you could have really just been hustling more. You know, when I didn't have a job, I literally applied to about 100 jobs a day. I applied to some jobs 3 or 4 times. So they kept saying my name.
Like the dude who lost his job and was standing on the corner passing out resumes.
You feel me? Like
he was standing on the corner passing out resumes.
Hustle is hustle, and it's because when I took the last L, I decided for the first time I was gonna make sure I didn't do nothing questionable to try to bounce back. So I said, you know what? If I'm hungry, when I'm hungry, I can go crazy in this fashion. I want to make sure that I throw every ounce of energy I got into trying to do this. So literally, job after job after job. And I had actually decided that I wanted to get into real estate.
Yeah.
I had just left hospitality and switched into an entirely different field. You know, so the reality is, when you're serious about something, you go after it. With this mental health situation, we have to be accountable for what we've been through in the past. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, once you become an adult, what you've been through in the past did not have the same effect on you. They say if you knew better, you do better.
Exactly.
So once you acknowledge the situation, you have one choice. You're either going to fix it or allow it to persist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a choice. Literally, it is a choice. You know.
So we touched on the bigger picture. We touched on the mental health part. So we're gonna wrap it up, but I want to one quick thing I want to brush over before we wrap it up, and the terrorist part, right? So everyone is saying, like, these men are terrorists, treat them as such, label them as such.
Right.
And that was one of the things that he kind of backed off of doing. He called them cowards and called them, they're sorry-ass individuals, but he wouldn't use the word terrorist, right? He wouldn't use it. Exactly. And Rihanna was like, I think you spelled terrorist wrong. Like you said coward. I think you spelled terrorist wrong. And Charlemagne said that, of course, white men have been the biggest terrorists in the United States. Sure. Why aren't you calling? So one of the things that he masked is the fact that it's terrorism. What do you feel the look of a terrorist will be moving forward, or will that agenda be able to be pushed that a terrorist is not somebody that just necessarily doesn't look like you, or somebody who's not part of the country, or whatever the case may be, but a terrorist can just be someone who's pushing a political agenda in a murderous way, right? And will we start to look at those individuals as terrorists now? No. Do you think it will change?
No, I don't think it'll change. I think it can change, but I don't think it will, in a sense, because it's like we got so many individuals that's stuck in like a mental illness condition. You know what I'm saying? Like our whole psychology and standpoint is just fucked up. Like the perception of the black man is a terrorist. Like nobody else can be labeled as that. Like no other ethnicity.
That's what I'm saying.
If you're African, you're a terrorist. You get what I'm saying? Like, and that's what it's always been. You get what I'm saying? Even if I come together with every man in this room and we go crazy, he say this year 20,000, you say 20,000, and everybody else does. We terrorists. We terrorists because now we have an agenda to be able to financially, like, have a financial gain.
Like the black.
You get what I'm saying? Like, if you,
like you said, like the black,
like the black family, right? Like, if it's a man and a woman together, they married, they got kids, and they got a big ass crib somewhere, you automatically a target for the system. You're a terrorist upon what we want this agenda to. I mean, what the agenda
like being against our agenda makes
exactly.
you a terrorist.
So you know what I'm saying? Like anybody who has any type of financial gain, anybody who understands and speak financial freedom, and they black, you're a terrorist. Rick Ross was a terrorist. Nipsey was a terrorist. We can go on and on. That's just how the terrorist aspect is looked at. Like the black man, the African man, like
the black man that's against our agenda.
Exactly. Anybody with money, you know what I'm saying? Like, and if you do have money, you playing the game with your money. It's only so much that you can do. It's being controlled some type of way. And if it's not being controlled, they trying to find a way for it to be controlled. And if you go against that, they label you as
kind of like how they said Black Lives Matter was a terrorist organization,
exactly.
but the neo-Nazis that was what was that in South Carolina or something like that? Yeah. They was a political rally.
Exactly.
they
play
was
with
rally,
their words properly, bro. Like they do what they got to do. That's one thing. They understand their language. That's their language.
Rhetoric.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think so? They are going to charge the guy from El Paso that they said.
He good.
They said that they're going to charge him. That they're charging him with a terrorist attack. That's what they said.
That's what they said.
So do you think that was just like a forced push? Like they
to
saw the social
chill.
Media saying they're like, we definitely looking at terrorist charges. Like,
right.
That's what we want to charge him as. And you saying
when you look at everything, you know what I'm saying, like a white man has done, it's always a mental illness.
Well, if you look at the definition of terrorism,
right,
all of these things is terrorist attacks.
Exactly.
A terrorist attack is when you do something to push a political agenda.
Right.
So if I go somewhere and I kill a bunch of people because of my political agenda, or because I want to build the wall, or because I don't want, I want to say that Mexicans are immigrants, that's terrorism.
Hey, just remember too, you ain't actually got to kill people.
No, exactly. You don't even have to kill people. It's just to push it. Yeah.
The Boston Tea Party was a terrorist attack.
Exactly. So
about it.
Exactly. So it's like
that's because terrorist has like he said, the ideology of a terrorist in America has a specific image, and the moment that you diversify that brand, you dilute the ability to control the people. Because the reality is, once you say the guy from El Paso was a terrorist, then I mean the guy from Florida in the club was a terrorist.
Yep.
That mean
the guy in Dayton was a terrorist.
That mean you feel me? That means literally every mass shooting, everybody that I'm buying terrorists. And then you start looking and you're like, well, don't that mean that those individuals who in the army who go kill people that we put in jail for war, ain't
our
they
whole
terrorists?
army is a terrorist.
Well, so
our army is a terrorist organization.
Once you open up that door, it's too many questions to be asked. That's why you got to make sure. That's why I said they got to make sure they sedate us. You have to make sure that you keep people in propaganda. You got to make sure you keep people in a certain square. They have a certain understanding. That's why, like you said, they ain't going to give you all the details. They ain't going to show you the video. Man, just let me see the video. You know, like I saw the video of the dude, who was he overseas in Belgium, wherever, when he went in the mosque and he supposedly shot all those people. You know, from that video, to me, it looked like that was real. You know, if it turns out to be fake, that'd be crazy. But you saw the entire video. This man gets out his car. You see him reload and everything. You know, not saying that we should promote this stuff, but you know it's something going on when they only show you parts and they tell you this story. Exactly. You know, they spoon feed you what they want you to believe so they can direct you in a certain way. Exactly. You know, that's the American way. That's politics.
That's fucked up. But everything that trends, it's a way bigger issue behind the trend.
Exactly.
It don't matter what it is. Just like, you know what I'm saying, like when this El Paso shit happened, like you were saying earlier, Trump started talking about shit. He was talking about A$AP Rocky again.
Exactly. He flipped it right back to
I mean, but even beyond that, y'all don't realize all of that was a distraction. You need to ask yourself, what was going on a larger scale that will actually
He great at distractions. He
great
at distractions.
Look at, yes, because Trump, most of this
he the king of distractions.
I have a lot of respect.
The no-look assist.
I have a lot of respect for Trump, and this is the reason I say this. Trump does not lie. You know, I don't actually think he is racist. I think Trump just a rich man who understands that there are a lot of individuals who are racist who want to hear this. So he says it, you know, but the reality is, do I think he's sitting up in his room saying F Negroes and all that? No. He ain't
saying he pushing the agenda that the people behind him want him to push.
Yes.
So he could keep
He kicks it with Diddy.
Yeah, he still can be racist.
You feel like, yeah, you feel me? That's why it's like, so it's like, I'm not saying that he's racist or he's not racist, but I do understand that politically, Trump knows how to get the people going.
He has an agenda to push.
He's messing with people. And he also realizes that kind of agenda can actually...
It's fucked up, but it
can get the other side
it could get
going
it done.
Too.
Yeah,
it could get it done. So now, we so focused on trying to talk about Trump and his presidency that our candidates aren't even showing they own real power. You know, so they make a point to distract you from what he's doing. That's why people got to understand that's the Kansas City Shuffle. That's when everybody look left and you go right. You know, he ain't doing nothing but making y'all look over here.
Good or bad, we talking about him.
Trump, yes. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Good or bad, we talking about him.
Exactly.
All right.